trial is happening. Jury deliberations are occurring as we speak. There is a ticker on the CNN website. They are, we're very excited about justice being served.
Arguments in the case. So it was nearly early evening when the former...
Did you learn that Divorcelli is going to Israel, Palestine to talk to people there? He's not going to Israel, Palestine. He's doing a media tour, most likely, I suspect, paid for by the Israeli government. Who gives a
President finally emerged for a quick raised fist and then into his motorcade and away.
After 5 weeks of trial, the case is now wrapping up, and it will be up to the jury to decide whether or not to convict Donald Trump in the first case of its kind in US history.
A smattering of hardcore Trump supporters lined the streets, determined to defend the former president.
This is a disrespect of the office of the presidency. This is not how America operates.
But as everybody keeps saying, nobody in this country is above the law, even a president or a former president.
This is nonsense. I don't even want to hear that crap.
No, he should not be above the law, but he should not be an artificial target of the law. You cannot have the law weaponized.
I hope someone at every one of these asks thoughts about using the N-word. Are you kidding me? He's going to Israel. What the f are you talking about? They're going to say it with him at Ethiopian Jews.
This way.
It was then that Trump's legal team, including his top lawyer, Todd Blanche, emerged.
Can I ask you how you think it went today, gentlemen? Do you think you're going to get your client off? Do you think Mr. Trump will be acquitted? Do you think you'll spare him the conviction? Should you spare him the conviction? You're defending Donald Trump here in probably the most consequential criminal case in US history. Just tell us why he shouldn't be convicted.
Earlier in his summing up, Blanche had described Michael Cohen, Trump's former fixer, who paid the hush money to silence Stormy Daniels, as the greatest liar of all time. A fact not disputed when the prosecutor against Trump made his final argument. We didn't choose Michael Cohen to be our witness. We didn't pick him up at the witness store. The defendant chose Michael Cohen to be his fixer because he was willing to cheat and lie on his behalf. Donald Trump denies the affair, and his lawyers argue the money was only paid.
It's probably my favorite defense tactic in cases like this, because it's my favorite defense tactic because, yeah, of course the witness is going to be unreliable. Like, you can call into question their moral character. They went to jail for the crime that they committed for the person who is now being prosecuted. You're now prosecuting the guy who gave the order. You can't, like, it's the funniest way to try and tell a jury, like, well, this guy's a real liar. Can you trust him? And it's like, yeah, he was a real liar hired to lie for the guy who is currently in the process of being prosecuted for making the other guy lie for him. Yeah, it's like hiring a hitman as like a mob boss and then standing trial when the hitman is already in jail and going, can you trust this hitman? After all, he murders people. It's like, yeah, for you, dude. What are you talking about? Obviously, you know, you're going to do that anyway because you're a defense attorney. That's your job, but it is pretty funny. Former President Trump, Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. Oh my God, he's so fire. He's on fire, dude.
In listening to the charges from the judge, who's, as you know, very conflicted and corrupt because of the confliction, very, very corrupt.
Wait, if he's conflicted, why is he corrupt?
Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job. And it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. I would say, in listening to the charges from the judge.
Mother Teresa going to beat those charges of line? Yes, much better than anything Joe Biden can cook up. Joe Biden's out here being like, at the top of the hour, Jack, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, then all you need to do is subscribe. For $5 or for free, every American will be able to subscribe to the Hasanabi broadcast and avoid the top of the hour ad break. That's right. Cut the malarkey, Jack. Here it is now. Why? Imagine he beats these charges. What happens then? He's going to beat the case. What do you mean? My goat.
Paid to Miss Daniels to save his wife Melania from embarrassment.
As they begin their deliberations today, jurors need to decide whether or not, in lying about how he reimbursed Cohen for the hush money, as prosecutors allege he did, Donald Trump intentionally sought to defraud voters on the eve of the 2016 election by silencing Stormy Daniels and her allegations of an affair, which he believed could hurt his chances of winning the presidency.
This trial is rigged. Thank you.
If they believe he did commit those crimes, then they'll convict Donald Trump. If they don't, then the former and perhaps future president will walk free.
I think these notes, I think what's positive, though, about these notes.
Bro, he's walking free regardless. What do you mean? He ain't getting prison time for that. That's just crazy. The jury deliberations have taken 5 hours so far because they're thinking about all the books they're going to write about indicting arresting a president.
Is that it really shows the jury is actually doing.
Bro, if you ask me one more time, who should Palestinian Americans vote for? I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. I don't know, man. I don't know. Stop asking me. As a Palestinian American, who should I vote for? My cousins all want to vote Trump. I don't know why your cousins are dumb enough to think that like Trump is going to be better by any means. He's not. Trump is literally responsible for October 7 and the inevitable Israeli response. Ridiculous. The one guy that's like just marginally, just a little bit worse than Biden on Palestine is Trump. What the are we talking about? Vote for whoever the you want, or don't vote, or we'll definitely do vote down ballot for sure, and for ballot measures and all that good stuff. Vote local for sure, and do whatever the you want at the top of the ticket. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do. Okay,
doing their job and deliberating.
I'm telling you, I don't care.
What Donald Trump kind of was saying that concerned me was he was delegitimizing the jury system by saying I can't get a fair trial in New York. People are going to be biased against me. If that were the case, they would just have a knee-jerk reaction and potentially just convict him. And this really shows they're listening, they're thinking, they're looking at the evidence. They want to read back. They want the law read back to them. They want certain parts of the testimony so they can analyze it. And whatever the verdict is, we have to respect it. And I think the legitimacy of the jury system and of the criminal justice system is important, whatever the verdict is. But I think this is a very positive sign because it shows they're taking their job very seriously and they're being thoughtful.
So Judge Merchan said deliberations are going to start again at 9:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and he has dismissed the jury for the day. The jury is leaving. The
reason he's doing that is because it is going to now take the court reporter and the parties hours, literally hours, to agree to identify in the transcript exactly which portions of the transcript are responsive to these notes. Because it's not like they said, we want all of the readback of David Pecker's testimony. They want a certain specific part of David Pecker's testimony. And that could be in multiple places, right? There could be a question on direct or a series of questions on the direct. There could be more questions later on in the direct and then parts of cross. And what's going to happen is the court reporter is going to have to identify each and every place that is responsive to that note in both direct and cross. Then the parties are going to have to agree that that's the only place in the transcripts that it exists. And then it'll be read back to them. The court reporter is the one who does the read back, both of the judge's instruction and of the testimony in New York. So you'll have the court reporter who will be speaking for a long time tomorrow. But I bet even at 9:30, we might not get started because the jury will come in, the judge will send them back to continue to deliberate. They can continue to deliberate even while the parties are answering the notes and looking for things. It's not like things stop at that time. But it's going to take some time to get the answers to these questions to the point where it can then be read back to the jury.
So, Tom Dupree, is the reason that he dismissed them for the day just because it's 4:07, almost 4:30, which is when he would dismiss them anyway? Might as well just let him have the 20 minutes kind of thing?
That's probably what was going through his mind. I mean, it is interesting, given that the jury, they deliberated late last night, so you could at least see maybe the jury would be interested in continuing to deliberate.
I still can't believe this chat was so stupid enough to think you actually took a day off because the dude's name was Pecker. Yeah, I mean, that was not the brightest moment for this community. When people unironically listen to like a joke that I made about how, oops, I got to take the day off tomorrow. I had something come up as they were talking about David Pecker. And like hella people were like, what? You're live today? I thought you were taking the day off. That was crazy, bro. Actually crazy. Not our best moment. Once again, another instance where this community is its own worst enemy. When people respond a joke with a joke, no, there were actually people that went from joking to unironically saying I wasn't going to stream and duping a bunch of people along the way. Like there were people who were joking, then people who took that joke seriously, went along with it, and literally informed others that I wasn't going to be live. It was wild.
Deliberate, but I could also see them wanting a break. I mean, they certainly had a very long day yesterday. They finally got the case today, and now they're just going to be sitting there awaiting this information that they have indicated is very important to their decision-making process. The thing that interests me, Jake, by this, you asked about the significance, is that these requests came, relatively speaking, early on in the deliberative process, which tells me this is also a jury that kind of got down to business. In other words, they didn't spend hours and hours kind of, venting or, unburdening themselves of their feelings in the case. They immediately plunged into the record and within a reasonable amount of time decided these are the specific pieces of information we want to hear back. We want to get more because we've already identified these bits of testimony as critical to our deliberation. So they're moving quickly.
And as Karen assessed, Judge Merchan told the attorneys that they cannot leave the courtroom. The jurors have left, but the attorneys cannot leave the courtroom until they agree on the transcript that will be read back tomorrow. Tim Parlatore, are we going to find out, we in the public going to find out what 4 specific requests from the testimony, 3 from Pecker, 1 from Cohen, that they requested? Is that something that we will learn, or no, this is all just private jury information?
Oh, no. So the judge has read the note aloud into the record. So everybody who's in the courtroom knows what specific questions they've asked. And so now both sides are trying to compile what is responsive to that. And there will be some back and forth about sometimes one side will try and add in an extra page that they think is advantageous to them, and the other side will say that's not really responsive.
Right, sneaking in something
right. And so
to cook it.
This part of the process is interesting because I agree with you that a lot of these things would be a whole lot easier if we just give them the instructions. Giving them the transcript is a little bit more complicated because you have to remember these transcripts are not certified yet. They do contain errors. Sometimes when you get the draft transcript, you see that the court reporter accidentally wrote down no when the answer was yes.
Right.
Things like that. And so you can't give them the transcript, but this gives a great opportunity for the attorneys to see kind of where is the jury going, and for the client to be able to lose their mind just a little bit more and trying to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what I always find interesting is not just the questions asked, but during the readback, I watch the jury and I see what are they doing. And sometimes you'll see facial expressions. I've seen it even where, when it comes to that key line in the testimony, all of a sudden one juror will look down at the other. See? and that's when you sit there and the client's like, is that a good thing?
Right. That's funny.
That's because readback is in open court.
Yeah.
So we will all...
Yeah. We're all going to know what they read. And Jamie Gangel, right now, you talk about clients going crazy. And again, for any defendant, this is not fun. And Donald Trump is a defendant, so it's not fun for him right now. And Todd Blanche, his defense attorney, asked the judge, can my client, the former president, Donald Trump, go across the hall while the lawyers are working on finalizing the transcript, which could take hours? Judge Merchan said that's okay, but Trump cannot leave the building. And Trump is apparently leaning back in his chair with his arm up on the chair back, gesturing as he talks to Blanche and Beauvais, 2 of his attorneys. Blanche is laughing. Trump, we saw him walk out. Trump is up from his seat, leaving with Don Jr. Total deliberation time today, 4 hours, 37 minutes. And Jamie Gangel, the guy's running for president, and I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, but this has got to be frustrating. He's stuck in this courthouse.
Well, let's put aside running for president because there were a lot of days during these 6 weeks where he could have gone out and campaigned, and he chose to campaign from the courthouse steps or the courthouse hallway. I will say, I think look, Donald Trump doesn't like anyone telling him what to do or where to be. Look at Tim Parlatore nodding. So he doesn't like the fact that he has to stick around the courthouse. And someone I know who was in that holding room with me with him tells me it is not a very pleasant place. Like the rest of the building, it is old, it is dirty. I gather there's an old air conditioning unit in the window. Not Donald.
Oh my God. They're running for time, bro. For two reasons. One, they want to make this like important for liberals, even though they don't care. Like liberals, they can't get them to care about this. And two, every moment spent covering this dumb shit, you don't have to cover Israel's genocide.
Style.
Yeah, that courthouse is a dump.
But
I don't think I'm
the
talking
one
out of
thing
school.
about being in the holding room,
Yeah.
we're not watching his face in the courtroom.
Right, so he doesn't have to worry
Correct.
about
He has privacy.
anybody commenting because he closed his eyes for 5 seconds. Everyone stick around. The jury has stopped deliberating for the day after 4 hours, 37 minutes of deliberation. So we just want to note that we have stopped. Where is it? We have stopped our clock right here. Let's bring in CNN's Caitlin Collins, who's outside the court. And Caitlin, what do you make of the jury's notes late this afternoon and this rather early dismissal for the jury?
Well, Jake, obviously, this is a question that the Trump team is going to be trying to dissect, just like we are, in the sense of what this means for them. At first glance, I mean, obviously, if they're trying to read David Pecker's testimony, which the prosecution framed in their closing arguments late into the evening last night, I was in there inside the courtroom as they did that. I mean, the prosecution framed it as damning for Donald Trump and saying that what David Pecker, someone who had no axe to grind against Donald Trump, had to say by putting Trump in the room and talking about how
I'm Hasan. Wow. They aren't talking about what I want them to talk about. Dude, this is a pretty big historical case. Maybe pull your head out. What are you talking about? It is historically unprecedented, but it doesn't mean that like this is that significant of a case. Because it's not like he's going to go to jail. And beyond that, the crimes that we're talking about are like pretty minor. Are you okay? My criticism of the coverage is them trying to manufacture some kind of sensationalist propaganda surrounding this issue. And most people don't give a about it. First criminal indictment of a president. I know, man. I know. It's a big deal. It is historically unprecedented in the United States of America. Okay? Historically unprecedented. Not unprecedented in the Western world, though. Shit happens to European. Just say I have a point and move back to Israel. No, you don't have a point. Why are you trying to argue with me on this? Nobody gives a about this, dumbass. Trump supporters don't give a shit about it. Liberals don't give a shit about it. You're just in here because you give more of a shit, not about this, but about debating. That's it. You're literally demonstrating how little you care about it because you immediately capitulated and said, just say I'm right. Now you're going to go back to the hole you came from and write a Reddit post about how you own me in the marketplace of ideas or some shit. Demonstrating, once again, you don't give a about the criminal case against Donald Trump and do about just the argument itself. He does have a point. The argument is that, no, I'm not saying it's to distract liberals from Gaza. I said they're looking to fill time with anything they can about domestic issues, and there's nothing going on in American politics. And the most significant issue to cover right now is Biden's red line and his inconsistency, even from the framework that Americans do care about. And the idea that most people don't care about Gaza is also wrong. You're objectively wrong. Don't give me the goddamn polling, okay? The notion that like Americans just don't want to talk about Gaza or think about Gaza is also incorrect. Yeah, this is CNN's desperate attempt to create 2016 era numbers, and they're failing to do so. I didn't mean they're like, they created sensation around this to distract from Gaza. That's not what I said. I said they're trying to fill time because they don't want to cover Gaza constantly. You misunderstood my point.
How he was aware of this plot to pay for stories that could potentially be damaging to his chances at winning the election. That was how they framed it. So it's notable that the jury wants to see that, but they're also asking to see testimony from Michael Cohen, who Todd Blanche framed as this complete liar as part of his closing arguments to the jury as well. So obviously it's a lot to interpret there. Everyone's going to be trying to read it, including Trump's attorneys, who you saw Trump leave the room along with his entourage a few moments ago. But Todd Blanche and Emil Beauvais and Susan Nicholas are still inside that room at the defense table as they are going to be trying to sort through exactly which parts of this transcript are going to be read back to the jury tomorrow. I think the other thing that is still to be determined is on the jury instructions and what is being read to what is going to be read back to them, whether or not it's all of the jury instructions, which took about an hour today, or if it's certain parts of the law or certain parts about reasonable doubt, witness credibility. All of that is going to be key aspects that people will be looking for when the judge does return with the jury tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. to see what is it that they have questions about. It's this fascinating process where they can only communicate via the foreperson for the jury. That is juror number 1. He is just automatically the foreperson here.
Oh, I realized what just happened. I mentioned Bonarelli, or rather a chatter mentioned Bonarelli getting a paid trip to Israel to do propaganda for Israel's genocide. That's why there's so many dipshits in the chat all of a sudden. I was like, what's happening? Like the dumbass sentiment expressed in the chat increased dramatically. It's because they threw up the bat signal, the cuck signal. It is wild, bro. That was like a literal 15-second mention. Your endless amount of posting showing how not normal you are to the rest of the people that had no idea who the you were is not going to magically make your debate daddy come across smart or not toxic to the average individual. Why pay the divorce court vet? He's the worst individual to call propaganda with. What are you talking about, dude? He's one of the only people left unhinged enough to defend to the teeth whatever the Israel is doing.
Sending these notes and clarifying what it is to the judge. They can't have these lengthy conversations with him, or if they do have conversations, it's where the judge has brought the entire jury into the courtroom to make sure that they all hear what his instructions are, and it's not just any kind of private discussion between the judge and one juror. The importance here is that they are all 12 on the same page here, and so obviously the Trump team will be trying to figure this out as well. I should note, Trump left the courtroom, Jake. He can't actually leave the courthouse, though. He has to wait until all of this is done. He's obviously been here since early this morning.
Caitlin Collins, thanks so much. Appreciate it. The Trump trial jury has just been dismissed for the day. This after they sent the judge 2 notes. One to rehear 4 different parts of testimony, 3 from David Pecker, 1 from Michael Cohen. Another to hear parts of the judge's instructions to them again.
Wait, is this actually my goat, Adam McKay? There are so many bad faith arguments being thrown around by the blue no matter who crowd, but a glaring one is the eye roll over the idea of putting sustained pressure on Biden to step down. If it doesn't work, what is the possible downside? He's already polling in the 30s. I don't expect that point to convince the tasteful blue horde. They practically radiate excitement at the opportunity to once again unquestioningly fall in line in November. Literally anyone. I'm no big fan of Newsom or Whitmer, but they'd beat Trump. Oh my God, they lost Adam McKay. It's Jover. No, Adam McKay is like pretty, dude. Out of like famous Hollywood directors, Adam McKay is literally one of the ones with infinitely better American political opinions. Are you kidding me? That man made Vice, bro. Come on now. Not only are these white liberal banana heads, I don't know if this is actually him, dude. What is happening? My account is ghost banned because I said the genocide in Gaza is a genocide. Is this actually him? He said banana heads. Not only are these white liberal banana heads indifferent to the mass slaughter of women and children, they're wholly unequipped to deal with our climate crisis. This moment requires urgent, bold, ambitious ideas and actions. The liberal identity is incremental, small, done before. A legion of Neville Chamberlains with good taste in restaurants. Banana head. It's such a silly thing to say. Also, I don't think they have good taste in restaurants. DC notoriously bad. But yeah, no, Adam McKay is not a lib. I wouldn't say he's a lib. I forgive him for Don't Look Up. It's fine, dude. Come on. It was okay. It's not his best work. It's far from his best work. He made Vice. Remember Vice? Remember how good Vice was?
And millions of dollars. And New York deserves so much better than this. And I cannot wait for the day that we win. We will. We're right. The entire country knows this is nonsense.
No, he didn't say we're white. He said we're right. God damn it. Ugh, liberals are so annoying, dude. Holy shit. It sounds like he said we're white, but like obviously you know what he said. Come on.
Yeah. Paid sellout for the DNC.
Bro, there ain't no way. I feel like they brought more people to heckle Robert De Niro than to the Trump trial, dude. There are more pro-Trump protesters at the Robert De Niro conference than at the Trump trial the entire week.
You touch kids! You touch kids!
Wait, what?
You suck my your mother swallowed. We're trying to be gentlemen in this world. The Democrats. You are gangsters.
Excuse me.
You are gangsters. You're a softie. You're a nobody. You're trash. You're trash. You're done. You're done after.
How can you be that mad at Robert De Niro, bro? Like, that makes no sense. I mean, it is pretty funny to say you're a nobody to Robert De Niro, but like, I do. The only other time I've ever heard this level of anger with like no real reason is this chat. That is literally what gray names look like and sound like in the real world. Just like that guy earlier today who was like, you should yourself while we were covering Hind Rajab and her execution in the hands of the Israeli state. And the guy came in and was like, oh, just Hasan, yourself now. And it's like, are you all right? What's happening? What happened with Robert De Niro? He came out for the Democratic Party. Isn't De Niro against Palestine? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care. He's 800 years old. Sorry if you already talked about it. What Pirate Software Thor said about war and stuff. It was so disappointing. I have not. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh man, I'm not that bad. Just made my 18-month anniversary. He's against Trump. That's good enough for the moment. No, it's just like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, yeah, he's pro-Biden. But like, you should have this level of animosity and anger for very few people. Okay. Does that make sense? You should have like, it's fine to have this level of resentment, this level of anger, whatever. Pirate Software was talking about Ukraine, Russia, and not alienating community members from either location. It had nothing to do with Israel, Palestine. All software Pirate said is no one wins in war. These people are hate addicts. Maybe. Anyway, I don't really care about that at all. We're talking about lib shit chatter. Let me explain something to you. It's lib time. None of this Gaza stuff. Okay? None of this Palestine stuff. We're talking liberalism right now. We're talking my goat, Robert De Niro. Okay? My goat, Robert De Niro, came out and defended the Democratic Party and defended Joe Brandon in the bravest way possible. I'm fucking libbed up. Okay, all sarcasm aside, I don't understand how you could be this mad at Robert De Niro, bro. Like, it's understandable to be this mad at, like, I guess, key political figures. Okay? Abi selam. Sumalı bir bebeğimiz var, sana Insta'dan yazdım. Yoğunluğundan göremedim. Sanırım acaba Instagram hesabından paylaşır mısın? 1.8 milyon dolar gerekiyor. Oha. Chad in Turkish just asked me for $1.8 million. Like, casually. And literally said, dude, $1.8 million. He was like, dude, you don't understand. Like, I sent you a DM. You probably didn't see it because there's a lot of people DMing you. Can you give me for my child $1.8 million? That's crazy.
It is my guy. Robert De Niro puts Donald Trump in the face. You De Niro.
Can I? No, I can't give him $1.8 million. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's why he's so worried. When Trump goes to
Guys, back up.
Mook, M-O-O-K, Mook. You're a traitor to Italian and Jews. You're a traitor to Italian Jews. You Pablo. You ain't Bobby De Niro. You ain't.
Wait a minute. Why won't they censor the M word? I think that's an anti-Italian slur, right? Is it? I don't even know. This man was in heat. How dare he be treated this way? Yeah. Like I said, I think if you're this mad at someone and that someone is Robert De Niro and the crime that Robert De Niro committed was being pro-Biden, you really have to reconsider everything about your life. And I mean everything about your life.